Welcome back, my late ones. Welcome back to my channel. It's Cat for Wins here. If you're new here, like and subscribe to get my craziness out there. So how is everybody tonight? How's everybody doing? Let me jump over to comments. Hey, Julie and Penny, she's here. And we have Chris and Court of Madness. And we have, let's see here, Adam. Hi, Adam and Vincent. Great to see you guys. And the lovely Jasmine, our modest, and of course Adam is also our modest. Shananu we have in here. Sara is in here somewhere, I believe, hiding away. So this is going to be a crazy night. I have some crazy stories to tell you about Pam. But the first thing I want to do to get going is I actually want to start burning some herbs to welcome Pam into my house. So what we have here is a failure to communicate. So I'm going to drop my camera down so you guys can take just a quick gander here of what I got going on. All right. So this is my sad little cauldron. My other one's being used right now. So anyway, I have a little piece of charcoal in here that I'm going to light actually and just burn some. We have bay leaves here. Bay leaves and also patchouli are the two things that summon him in. That's actually patchouli in incense form. I didn't have it in herb form in my room. Also shells also welcome him in as well. This is crazy story. I got a really big shell here. Sara and I moved into a house after I got divorced, and I was putting shampoo. We had this big huge whirlpool tub, and I was going into just moving stuff in, and there was nothing in the tub when we moved in. And when I went to go put the shampoo on the back of the tub, that gigantic shell was sitting in the tub. So anyway, so we believe that was a gift from the Fae. So anyway, so I thought it was very poignant to have it here tonight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light my charcoal. I'm going to put you guys down here so you can kind of get a gander. I do have water with me in case it gets out of control here because I don't want to smoke myself out. So as you can see, the charcoal is lit. You can see that it's sparking away. So we'll give that just a minute. Also acorns, that is another symbolism of him. This is actually a rock, but it is from the ocean. You can see it's kind of all pitted and stuff from rolling around in the ocean. So I thought I like that because when you take a stone from the ocean, especially where the water meets the sand, that is a gateway, and the power in the stone is actually more powerful because it has been rolling around in that gateway for a while. So that's really cool. All right, so this is smoking pretty good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a bay leaf on here and get that going. Okay, we also have some myrrh. Myrrh is another thing that's in here somewhere. So this is the pan flute here, in case you're going to find out about the pan flute. It's loud, but you can actually make one out of straws, and it's just quite so easy. You just take 8 straws and you just cut them. Usually what I did was this is like 20 millimeters long, and then I did 18 and then 16, and then you get the gist. Went down every 2 centimeters, and it actually does make a noise. So anyway, so I just created this one because I got a little bored, and I like to put my intent into things as I do them. So now I'm going to drop a piece of patchouli on here as well. Get that going. So we do have honey in a cup. He does love, all these deities love honey. Oak leaves, of course, and the pan flute. Anything that represents nature. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up, okay? I want to do an invocation and invite Pan into the house. So, put this back here. Let that smoke for a moment. Watch the smoke. So I'm going to jump back over to comments in case anybody new has stumbled in. It's got Ash, Court of Madness, Ash, and Sarah Synister. Okay, we're good. So how is everybody tonight? I hope everybody's good. Sorry about last week. We did have a couple little flybys. The fairies haven't been very active in my room this last week or so. So I think they're busy. So hopefully they'll do little flybys tonight. So that's interesting. So I'm going to jump over to my banners. All right, I have a bunch of banners for you. So who is Pan? Hey, this is the crazy dude. Pan is also known as Faunus, and Romans call him Faunus, god of shepherds, hunters, and the wild. So if we go down to that lovely Titan family tree, the Greek Olympian god family tree, we have Hades, Hysteria, Demeter, Zeus, Hera, and Poseidon at the top there, then Apollo, Artemis, Persephone, Ares, Hephaestus, and Hermes. Now, if you look at Hermes and go straight down from Hermes, there's Pan. Now, it's believed that Pan is the son of Hermes, but we know Zeus, that little fickle fellow. It's possible that Zeus is the father of Pan, so that's quite interesting. So when Pan was born, Pan's lineage, the parentage of Pan is uncertain. Some accounts say he's the son of Hermes and Dryope. Others say he's the son of Zeus or the son of Penelope, wife of Odysseus. The story of the birth says that his mother was so distressed by his unusual appearance that she ran away, but he was taken to Mount Olympus, where he became the favorite of the gods. Now, supposedly when Pan was born, he was born with a beard. He was born with the horns. And how you give birth to that, I don't know. And how do you run away after you give birth to that? I'd be crawling, because that'd be pretty painful. Anyway, so Pan is considered to be one of the oldest of the Greek gods. He's associated with nature, wooded areas, and pasture lands, from the which his name is derived. Now, if you look here in this picture, these are nymphs. These are wood nymphs from the woods. They are the ones that actually raised Pan, so that's quite interesting. So I'm going to do an invocation here, if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. So yeah, let me show you this one. So the god of the wild. So that's basically what he looked like when he was born. He had horns. Supposedly he had a beard too, but I don't know. He was raised by nymphs. So these are nymphs. I believe the word nymphomaniac comes from the word nymphs. So you know where this story is going to go tonight. Pan is a very fertile god and a very fickle fellow. He had a hard time keeping girlfriends, so he was very promiscuous and very authoritative, trying to get women to be with him. So that's quite interesting. Okay, so my invocation here. God, I got so many here. So we're going to hear about echo tonight. The word echo, echo, echo. This is where this word comes from, is echo. You're going to learn that Pan is brought in the word panic. The word panic comes from the word pan, so that's interesting. So the word Pan, or also spelled P-A-O-N, okay, it means a pasture or lord of fertility is what it means. Pan's name means all, everything. All, everything. So that's what Pan's name. Pan is a spirit of corners, thresholds, borders, edges, twilight, and you usually will see him, if you do catch a glimpse of him, it will be at twilight, and you will catch him out of the corner of your eye, of course. Out of the entire Greek pantheon, Pan might be the god who is the most obviously held over from more ancient times. So he's really ancient. He actually lived, Pan was real. Pan actually lived, he was around at the time of Jesus Christ, in case you're interested in that, knowing that. Before people worship gods with a set of hierarchy and family lines, they looked to nature spirits to explain the world. These earliest gods often combined traits of humans, animals, and nature itself. That's what your nymphs are. As Greek culture and religion formed, some of these ancient nature spirits persisted. They were incorporated into the myths of the great Olympian deities. Pan was one of these gods. While this character changed as he became part of the classical Greek pantheon, he remained a more wild spirit than his civilized counterparts. So Pan represents sexuality, unbridled sexuality. He's the wild man, okay? He's that passion and lust that comes in with no forethought, no afterthought. That's what Pan is about. That's what nature's about, if you think about it. Nature is instantaneous. One minute it's raining, next minute it's sunshine, next minute it's snowing if you live in Maine. So it kind of ties into that. Like most Greek gods, he was incorporated into the complex family tree, as we said here. If we go up to the tree again, I gotta find the invocation. What did I do with it? Family tree. He was incorporated into the complex family tree of the Olympians. Most writers considered him the son of Hermes, although some attributed the parenting to Zeus. The myths really agree on whose Pan's mother was, although most consider her to be one of the thousands of nymphs that many note. However, is said that she was so horrified by the baby that she fled the site of the birth. Pan was born fully formed with a torso, a grown man, and legs and a tail of an adult goat. Artwork often includes the detail of horns on his head, furthering his inhumane appearance. Mother ran delivering horns. I don't think so. Okay, so we saw that one. All right, I gotta find my invocation. Where is it? Burn, summon. So, summon the god Pan. You burn patchouli and bay leaves, which is what we're doing now. And here is my invocation. O great god Pan, beast and man, shepherds of goats, lord of the land, I call you to attend my rites on this most magical of nights. God of the wine, God of the vine, God of fields and God of kine, attend my circle with your love and send your blessings from above. Help me to heal, help me to feel, help me to bring forth love and wealth. Pan of the forest, Pan of the glade, be with me as my magic is made. So the descriptions of Pan bearded even as a boy, horned, hooved as old as Titans, archaic as nature herself. He can be heard in primitive places, lonely and desolate, and in the deep, dark catacombs of the witch's heart. His laugh, something just went over here, sparkled on my bed. His laugh deep at the earth, some say blood-curdling booms, otherworldly through moonlit groves, his eyes wild, aglow, agleam, and glimmering against the pitch-black backdrop of the hallowed forest. And with the goatish smile that's fatherly yet lustily, he pipes the reticent music of my primordial soul. So, that's Pan. The Pan flute is named after Pan, the Greek god of nature and shepherds of the depicted with such an instrument. The Pan flute has become widely associated with the character Peter Pan. Yes, you see where this is going. By Sir James Matthew, whose name was inspired by the god Pan. There's many stories actually about Pan. There's actually Pan's Labyrinth. It's like an Alice in Wonderland story for adults if you want to check that out. So that's quite interesting. Christianity, of course, came into play at one point and kind of took over and dubbed him to be Satan. They call him Satan. And again, this is the Christianity was trying to beat out paganism. This was the last of the paganism. Pan was kind of the beginning of paganism, if you want to take it that way. I'm going to jump over to comments, make sure. Not a great day, feeling frustrated. Oh, I'm sorry, Court of Magnus. I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. Oops. Let's see here. We have lovely Shadow King. Welcome. I see you there hiding in the shadows. So the Roman form of Pan is Faunus. This is Faunus here. Pan enjoys spending time with satyrs, and we'll discuss those in a moment as well. Pan was born fully formed, and the Greeks almost universally agreed that Pan was not a good-looking god. He is usually shown with an unattractive face and a full, unkept beard. As a child, Pan had a pleasant demeanor and loved laughter. but this was widely overshadowed by his unattractive looks. Pick on the dude here. Hermes took the child to Mount Olympus, where, despite his appearance, the other gods were delighted by him. Dionysus especially found Pan charming, and they would go on to be closely associated with each other. This is Dionysus. He's actually, some people call him a form of Christ, believe it or not, because he can turn water into wine. Yes. So this is, so he's good. Pan's a party goer. He likes to have a good time. Why not invite the guy that can turn the river into wine? I would. Pan was raised by nymphs, as I said, almost always dancing and playing games with them, a far cry from more stoic and regal depictions of the Olympians. The wild countryside he grew up in, far from grandeur of Mount Olympus or great temples of the city. Pan was almost popular, and it was so popular in Arcadia, which is a place in Greece. The mountain southern part of Greece, there he was revered by shepherds and rural villagers in the rugged mountain territory. The culture of Arcadia was among the oldest of the Greek lands. This probably explains why they most worship Pan, a god who almost certainly predated the rest of the pantheon. Yes, he's one of the oldest here. In some accounts, there are multiple versions of the god. Some say others Pans were sons of Zeus or Hermes by another mother. Others say Pan himself was their sire. Most likely Pan that survived into the classical Greek era was just one of many nature spirits worshipped in early Arcadia in Greece. The Greece culture developed, he combined with other pastoral gods. When you hear the word pastoral gods, that means that when they do a rite or they're doing a celebration, they call them in to give rites over or to say prayers over the rite that they're doing. So that's a pastoral god. Well, Pan became a distinct character. The others were forgotten in all about a few stories. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few crazy stories. He's half goat. Remember this, okay? So he's doing it with goats, okay? So he's kind of a wild guy. He's a horny dude. It's exactly what he is. He's a horny dude. So here we go. The god of the wild, Pan was the patron of all things related to the countryside, particularly shepherds. Having the bottom half of a goat, it's no surprise that he was particularly associated with goats and sheep. Meh. Shepherds have always lived solitary lives, spending much of the year tending to their flocks far from the comforts of home. Unkept and wild, Pan appealed to those men who ranged the mountains and meadows with their sheep. Pan was said to help them, appearing to give good advice or when to move and where to go for those living in rustic life who offered companionship. Pan himself was a herdsman at times. His father Hermes, or Zeus, had become a god of animal husbandry after stealing Apollo's cattle, and Pan was often set to watch over his father's sheep, goats, and cows. Because Pan was god who inhabited wild places, he did not have great temples. His worshippers set up single altars in caves and groves, the places God frequented. He's in the wild. That's where they're putting these places up, so that's kind of crazy. So let's see here. So this is interesting. Pan did fight, and then it's that word again I hate saying, the Titanomachy. Pan fought with the other gods in the first Titanomachy. That is the 10-year war that was fight between the Titans and the Olympians, and the Olympians won. And his ferocious shout scattered and attacked Titans as they tried to storm Olympus. This is the origin of the word panic. He is associated with the wild lands, with animals, and with the lonely shepherds. Pan created the pipes that were named after him and is seldom, if ever, seen without them. Oh, here he is. You'll never look at Disney's Peter Pan again the same, will ya? So that's quite interesting. And as I said, Pan's Labyrinth, this is an Alice in Wonderland movie for adults if you want to check that out. Even in the Athens, Pan's temples were rustic places. They had his altar in the natural cave or the slopes of Acropolis. In contrast to the great agriculture of the Pantheon above, only 2 true temples of Pan's honors were known to have existed. One deep in the river gorge survived as ruins. The other was built in the Roman Egypt much later. Pan was invented. Pan also invented the amusement most often associated with the solitary shepherds, the pan pipes. So he not only plays the pan flute, he also plays the long pan pipes to help pass the time in the fields with the shepherds. In later myths, Pan takes the place of Mars. Yes, the satyr is in a musical contest against Apollo. So I'm going to show you what a satyr is. Okay, so here's Pan's flute here. This is the one that he made. And you're going to find out who is in that pipe. So he's actually got a nymph that is part of that pipe. So that's quite interesting. So let's go here for a minute. So Pan was a minor deity in Greek mythology and god of nature, the wild flocks, shepherds, mountain wilds, and sexuality. I'm going to say unbridled sexuality. Pan was part goat, part man. He didn't have an important role to play, but remains culturally significant Greek deity. He is said to have invented the panpipes and is connected to the creation of echoes. That's a crazy story, and you're going to hear it tonight. So, the contest between Pan's rustic flute and Apollo's fine lyre. Lyre is a small harp. I believe I have a picture of one here. Let's see here. I changed all my things right before class because I decided, you know what, I want this instead. So, description of Pan, maybe not. So, Pan, music, Pan. It's Pan again. Pan's music, a wood nymph named Syrinx, okay, get this, turned herself into a river reed. That's what that pipe is made of. Pan's pipe is made of river reeds. To hide from Pan's advances. As the winds blew through the reeds, they made a gentle musical sound. Pan did not know which reed was Syrinx, so he cut several reeds from the river and set them in a line to make a musical instrument called the pan flute. So the deity turned herself into a reed, and now she's part of his flute, so it's quite interesting. While Pan could be a pleasant and helpful companion, he could also inspire dread. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish that story. The contest between Pan and Apollo's fine lyre, the little harp, the beautiful musical Apollo made, was deemed the winner. King Midas, here's King Midas, the Midas touch, you've heard of him, however, happened to be nearby and spoke up that he preferred Pan's playing the flute. Instead, Apollo cursed Midas with the ears of a jackass. He said that his ears should be as uncultured as his mind. Sebastian, stop. While Pan could be a pleasant and helpful companion, he could also inspire dread. Pan was said to be the source of fear and uncertainty that came upon people in the wilderness. Coming out from his caves at night, he sometimes startled flocks and caused them to run. Sebastian, come. Give me a baby. From his name, we get the word panic, as I said. So that's quite interesting there. Sebastian, what are you doing, dude? It's your baby. Okay, give me a second, guys. I'm gonna let my dog out so he'll stop barking. Okay, go. Bye-bye. Go. Bye-bye. Yes, baby. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So the word panic, as I said, Pan was said to be the source of fear and uncertainty that came upon people in the wilderness. Coming out of his caves at night, he sometimes startled flocks and caused them to run. From his name, we get the word panic. His panic could bring fear into solitary travelers, but it could also strike fear in entire armies, and this is how he helped win that Titanotomy. Oh, gotta get that right. One legend in Athens claimed that Pan had saved the city by panicking the invading army. When the king killed Sibyl's sacred lions, Pan avenged her by spreading panic through the whole city. Spreading panic among flocks and men was a sport for Pan. He liked to have a good time. just one of the many myriad of his delights. Pan spending his time in the wilderness landscapes is not surprising that Pan featured the myths involving flight into the wilderness. The children's story, and they told me this, so I thought this was interesting. Listen to this. Where the wild things are. That story is based around Pan, believe it or not. And also to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. If you remember, Thomas, or I forget his name. He was actually a satyr. He was exactly Pan. So that's interesting. So, in such story as Pan encounters the goddess Demeter, Demeter's beloved daughter Persephone. Now this is where we're going to get our spring, summer, winter, fall. This is interesting. Has been abducted by Pluto and made queen of the underworld. Grieving the loss of her child, Persephone cried so much that Demeter had abandoned Olympus, Mount Olympus. Wearing a black cloak of mourning, she wandered into the wilderness. Eventually, she shut herself in a cave to be completely alone with her suffering. Without Demeter, the world began to die, because Demeter is the one that makes flowers bloom and trees blossom and all these things happen. And by her despair and her darkness, she shut down, lowered her frequency, and everything started to die. The plants, it will turn to winter. See where I'm going with this? All right, without Demeter, the world began to die. Plants withered, causing a famine for humans and animals. These are the fall and winter months. Knowing the mountains well, Pan set out to find the missing goddess. He eventually discovered her hiding in a place and reported it to Zeus. Zeus sent the Fates. Remember the Fates? The three godmothers, the ones that come in, and the first one comes in when you're born, and the second one puts out a tape measure to see how long your life is going to be, and the third one comes in and cuts it. Bye-bye. They also sit at the feet of Yggdrasil, the tree of life. They're the ones that fight that snake and make sure they keep putting the dirt back around the tree, so the tree of life, Yggdrasil, does not die. All right, so they called in the three Fates, who persuaded Demeter and returned her to her duties. In another story, Pan came across the beautiful princess Psyche. We haven't talked about her yet. Against the wishes of Aphrodite, Eros, that's our Cupid, had fallen in love with the girl. He took her away, but made her promise to never look upon his face. Eros said he can't look. He was married to her, but you cannot look upon my face. Psyche broke that promise one night. As Eros was sleeping, she got up and took a candle and took it to his face to see what he actually looked like. Eros abandoned her. She wandered the world searching for her lost love. In her despair, Psyche considered ending her own life by throwing herself into the river. As she had this thought, Pan happened to come by. Knowing what had happened to cause her misery, Pan tried to comfort the girl by saying, "You are an elegant girl, and I am a rustic herdsman. But my advanced years give me the benefit of considerable experience. You must hearken me. Do not seek again to destroy yourself by throwing yourself headlong into the river, or by seeking any other means of death. Cease your sorrowing, lay aside your sadness, and instead direct prayers to adoration to Eros." And she didn't know Eros was her husband, so it's kind of a crazy story. "Greatest of the gods, and by your caressing attentions win the favor of that extravagant youth." Psyche did not reply, but she did continue on her way. Eventually, she would win Aphrodite's favor and be reunited with her husband and be turned into a goddess herself. So that's interesting. These legends did more than tie Pan into the stories of major gods. They reinforced his position as companion to anyone who wandered in the wilderness. Whether someone lived a rustic life or simply found themselves lost in Acadia's miles of hilly wilderness, they could count on Pan to be close by. Lovers of nymphs. So this is an interesting story here. One of Pan's most ancient functions as a fertility god, who ensured the successful breeding of his shepherds' flocks. I want you to think about that for a moment. He ensured the breeding of the shepherds' flocks. Do you see where I'm going with this? Yes. Okay. All right. Pan didn't just guide the breeding of the sheep and goats. His goat-like lower half was often shown with a prominent phallus. Yes. Yes. He's the god of wood. I'm sorry. In later Greek mythology, much of the role of fertility god was taken over by more gentle, civilized gods of Olympus. Eros shot the arrows to produce love, and goddesses like Demeter and Hestia watched over human life. But Pan's role in their procreation was never fully forgotten. He represented a more base animalistic form of fertility. Translations have sometimes seen women who had relations with several partners referred to as Pan's girls. Pan's girls. Pan didn't oversee marriage. He oversaw more primal urges. So he's about that lust and he's about that hee-haw. Ew, yes, Adam, you're thinking right. Yes, oh, he is part goat. My goodness. So, oh, good God. All right, going back to my banners. So the base urges Pan was associated with often had less than pleasant connotations. The god of lonely shepherds, a statue recovered from the ashes, shows the god having relations with a female goat. Do they scream? I know goats scream, but do they scream when? I don't. All right. In the legend, Pan is often paired with nymphs. These demigoddesses, of wild places were numerous and often became the lovers of wives and gods. So if we go back up here, these are the nymphs over here. Woo, woo, woo. A lover of music and merriment, Pan was often found dancing with the nymphs and playing games with them. Sometimes these descriptions reflect the innocent simplicity of life in the country, but call to mind fertility rites and rituals. The nymphs themselves were generally less than welcoming towards Pan's advances. Leave me alone! One description from the 3rd century AD goes on to say that the nymphs joked about how badly Pan danced. Although he paid no mind to them, when he was overcome with lust, they would gang up on him and tie him up. So they didn't have to endure his horny advances. He's just a horny little dude. In the story, they even shaved his beard to chastise him. It was a thing back then, removing hair. Native Americans do it too. So, anyway, but it chastise, it takes, they believe that there's power in your hair. And ask Sara, her hair tries to kill me every day. One of the most famous stories of Pan and the nymphs involved his invention of the reed flute. All right, so Syrinx, the wood nymph, was a follower of Artemis. That's our archer, okay? Apollo's sister, okay? As such, has taken a vow of chastity. Pan. Okay, let's put a horny dude with somebody that's taken a vow of chastity, and let's see what happens. Oh my God, I'm sorry. They asked me to tell their stories. I think they laughed too. Pan met her, and she returned from the hunt and instantly pursued the maiden. Syrinx ran away until she reached the river with the father. Her father was the god of the river, and she begged her sisters to help her get away from the amorous Pan. So the other nymphs changed her into a river reed. When the wind blew through them, the reeds by the side of the river made a sad, mournful, but beautiful sound. When Pan came to the river, he was saddened to find Syrinx gone. Not knowing which plant was her, he picked several of them. Pan bound the reeds on different lengths together, creating a set of simple pipes, as you can see up here in the corner here. The nymph, bound them, creating a set of simple pipes. From that day forward, he was rarely seen without his pan flute. The nymphs pitied similar escaped Pan's advances by turning into a pine tree. So I'm beginning to think this guy is not that good looking. I don't know. His mother ran away when he was born. Everybody's running away from poor Pan. All right, so here comes the story of Echo. So this is very interesting. In case you don't know who Echo is, let me go and find her. Okay, so Echo was in love with Narcissus. Narcissus is the dude looking at himself in the water. Narcissus was so in love with himself. Yes, the word narcissist comes from him. He's so vain. He was so in love with himself that he couldn't stop staring at himself in the water. And he decided that it was so important to keep looking at this beautiful person in the water that he forgot to eat. He forgot to drink. And he forgot to live. He actually died by staring at his reflection in the water. So anyway, so this wood nymph over here, okay, Echo was madly in love with him. But there's a story of Zeus, the fickle fellow. He liked to play with the wood nymphs, the nymphos. Yes, he liked to play with them. And he went up to Mount Olympus, and Hera, which is Zeus's sister, but also his wife, and very powerful, went up, and Echo was there, and she defended Zeus, saying there's nothing going on here, and that pissed Hera off. So Hera and Echo had a beautiful singing voice, so Hera decided to take her voice away. And what she did is the only words that she could speak were the echoes of other people's words. So she couldn't actually speak her own mind. She only could repeat like a parrot of what people say. And this is how we got the echo today as the story continues on. Pan was usually more lustful than romantic. He was a horny little dude. I'll put these guys back up. Fell deeply in love with the nymph. Some say he had angered Aphrodite, and she had cursed him with the pain of never having love reciprocated back to him. So Aphrodite got pissed off at Pan and said, "You're never going to find love, mother. Go find a sheep." A more famous story of Pan is that Echo refused Pan because she was in love with another man, Narcissus. Though this vain and self-absorbed, so ignorant the nymph entirely, he ignored her. Echo had attracted Hera's anger as well. She had used her beautiful voice to distract the goddess while Zeus amused himself with the other wood nymphs. That little fickle fella. Hera cursed Echo to only be able to repeat what someone else says. Without her voice, Echo could not profess her love to Narcissus, so he continued to ignore her and stare at himself in the water and die. Although Pan had failed to win Echo, the stories say he never stopped loving her. He played his flute in the mountains to hear her echo back to the notes, and the greatest threat anyone could use against him was to convince Echo to never let him hear her beautiful voice again. So I'm going to go here, guys. Echo and Pan. The god Pan spotted Echo one day and fell madly in love with her, but Echo would have nothing to do with him. This made Pan so angry that he used his powers of panic, and he panicked the shepherds. They went mad and tore Echo to pieces. Pieces of Echo were carried by the wind all over the world. Gaia, the Earth Mother, who had always liked Echo, could not change what Pan had done. She could not change what Hera had done, but she could let the pieces of Echo keep the voice remained in them. So thanks to Gaia, even today, you can sometimes hear a piece of Echo repeating the sounds around her. The howl of a dog, the toot of a train, the last few words a person says. So that's interesting. So supposedly, if you get on a mountaintop and go, Echo, 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 that is her mimicking back to you, supposedly. So that's quite interesting. I'm going to jump over to comments, guys. Hi. So, take a shot of water, problem solved. Hey. So everybody doing okay? Everybody doing all right? Music's not too loud. I forgot to ask that. Oh, sorry. So I'm almost done with this, and then we're going to get on to the bone casting and go from there. And while Pan's pursuits of the nymphs often left him empty-handed, he was so occasionally successful. One Latin author said that he succeeded in seducing Selene, yes, the moon goddess. Get this one. This is funny. He actually created a sheepskin. This is where you get the term wolf in sheep's clothing, okay? He covered himself in a beautiful sheepskin that reflected light. So when Selena, the moon goddess, it reflected her light back at her, and she fell in love with him, and she actually get the beast with two backs, okay? But supposedly when you look up at the moon and you see the face of the man in the moon, that is supposed to be Pan. So there's something new. Selena, the moon goddess, by wearing a sheepskin to cover his goat half. Pan also succeeded in seducing some of the nymphs as evidence of the children he had fathered. He had fathered many children. I'm not going to get into his children, but I will say that his sons seemed to be the opposite of him. Instead of having goat legs, they had a human body and they had a goat torso and a goat face. So it kind of reverted there, so it's kind of interesting. While Pan's pursuits of the nymphs often left him empty-handed, as I said, he had many children. Among the offspring of Pan, some were half goat and half human, but opposite of Pan, as I said. Beep. My dog's trying to get back in. Pan is often seen with a conflated with the satyrs. And let's go back up to our satyrs. Here we are. So, satyrs are half goat, half humans, were unique creatures in Greek mythology, with depictions that changed over time. Initially, satyrs were depicted as wine-loving, sex-crazed, lustful creatures. Christianity is also associated satyrs with Satan. Yes, there's that Christian thing with Satan. I'm Christian, so hey, I'm just poo-pooing things. Perhaps because of the horns and the low morals. In the Renaissance, they were depicted as civilized yet pleasure-loving. In modern times, satyrs are shown as civilized and intelligent beings. They're known as fauns in literature and pop culture. As I said, faun! So here's a good picture of Pan. There's a sexy man. The satyrs and Pan were often companions, the wild followers of Dionysus. They worshipped was a wild, drunken revelry that often descended into chaotic frenzy of sex and violence. Oh, jeez! Good God. Associated with Dionysus was not always about parties and revels. However, even the god of wine went to war. I'm going to war now. I gotta get drunk first. I'm gonna turn this river into wine. The story of the Indian War of Dionysus was later won from after the time of Alexander the Great. In his campaigns, he had introduced the Greek world to India and was attempted to incorporate this new land into Greek tradition. In the epic poem, Zeus tells Dionysus that he must convince the Indians to worship the gods of Olympus if he wishes to be counted as one himself. So Dionysus set off to war in India. His army is composed largely of his usual followers of wild satyrs, maenads, and pains, as well as more organized troops provided by Rhea. Dionysus and his men easily overpowered the Indians in the battle and was a bloodbath. He takes pity on his enemies, turning the water into the nearby lake to wine. Yes, I feel bad I slaughtered you. Go have a drink. As one of the chief followers, Pan was part of the army. The god attempted to talk to the Indian leaders. Pan was with the heralds sent. They were rudely chased away, inciting the anger that led the great battle. When the battle was over, Pan played the flute while the Greek and the Indians enjoyed the ample wine that was supplied by Dionysus. The great expansions of Pan's story comes at the end of the poem when Zeus orders Athena to help the goat god. He claims that Pan fought beside him against the original Titans, Kronos, and was shepherd to the she-goat and nursed him as a baby. This embellishment contradicts the common stories of Pan's lineage, but helped to cement his position and the importance in the great gods Olympus. The image of Pan and the nymphs. So nymphs, okay, are lesser Greek goddesses of nature and are often depicted in the service of major goddesses. They can live extremely long lives but are not immortal. Nymphs are linked with, sometimes bound to, specific places or things, such as species of trees or freshwater springs. Call upon your local nymphs to aid you in more mundane tasks that might not require a major goddess's touch, such as growing a small garden or selecting wood for a new altar tool. Don't forget to thank them with a small offering. So the image of Pan cavorting with the nymphs and satyrs around Dionysus is a familiar one. It is not the only way in which Pan and his likeness have been passed down to us, though. As an obvious pagan deity, Pan had little appeal to people after the rise of Christianity. So let's go down here to Christianity. Here we are. Christianity changed everything, assimilated the old religions by changing them, and since there was no place for them in heaven, they were thrown into hell. Pan became Satan. The Christians called him Satan. He is not Satan. And his satyrs and the devils, or the lesbiscus nymphs became wicked witches, and the pleasant amusements of satyrs and nymphs in the heart of the forest became infernal sabbats, where witches mated with goats and deformed devils. I have nothing to say with that. Christianity, Pan, the undisputed god of nature, was transformed into the lord of the underworld, a title that would certainly have been more appropriate for Hades. Once again, poor Pan has been kicked to the curb. Pan had been betrayed by his bestial aspect, the god of nature, growth, life itself, the generator, the one who gave sustenance to men, was now portrayed as the destroyer and symbol of evil and corruption. I'm rewriting stuff now. This is not Satan, okay? I want to take the Christianity crap out of this. This predates the Christians when they came in, because the Druids were in place, and yes, they did sacrifices and did their things. I get that. But you got to remember, they're not in modern times. They were back in the days when it was more savage, and they had to fight for things. And anyway, the view of Pan began to change in the late 17th century when the interest in folk customs and naturalism grew. Pan became emblematic of the natural spirits and simple beliefs of the past. In England, far removed from Greece in ancient times, a group of Gloucestershire even began an annual festival called Pan. One local vicar revived the festival when it had died out for a brief time, mistakenly believing that it was an ancient local custom. Okay, last page. Pan became the most recent ancient pagan god and was portrayed as a demon in Christianity. His goat legs and horns became the standard depictions of Satan. To this day, the imagery of Christians' greatest villain is modeled on Pan. Despite this, Pan was also adopted into children's literature. Modern writers removed sexual connotations of Pan's myths and thought romantic lenses, and folklore pictured him as a symbol of more innocent times, where the wild things are. That children's book. That's crazy. The god gave his name to Peter Pan. Peter Pan. Yes, Peter Pan. Here I am. The Lost Boys Who Never Grows Up. The character plays the iconic reed flute and cavorts with the mermaids, the same way his namesake did with the wood nymphs. Interesting. The goat-legged creature also introduces children in Narnia and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Many characters and places in C.S. Lewis series were modeled on the Roman mythology in later books. Bacchus, yes, the Roman equivalent of Dionysus, water into wine, and his retinue Faunus, Pains, and his Faunus. Where's Faunus? Faunus, where'd you go, dude? It's Faunus. There's another form of Faunus. Anyway, so the satyrs make an appearance. From the innocent delights of nature to the root of all evil, the image of Pan has endured into the modern era. The Pan was a god of all things. That's why his name means all. The name Pan probably derives from a very ancient word that also gave us the root for pasture. But the Greeks saw Pan in a much broader way. The word Pan in Greek means all, as I said. Philosophers said that Pan's name showed how he could have a hand in all things, be in all places, and influence all people. While their notion of where the name came from was incorrect, these philosophers weren't entirely wrong. In the rural areas of ancient Greece, Pan really did touch on all aspects of life. As the spirit of rugged terrain and the patron of herdsmen, Pan represented the isolation and individualism of rural life. As a god of sexuality and partaker of Dionysus, revels and represents the joys of companionship and togetherness. Stories of Pan show both the pleasant aspects of life away from civilization and the fear that comes from being alone in the wild. When a shepherd sat alone in the hills with only echoing sounds, echo, 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 the pipe as company, he could pray to Pan, and when he returned to his village for music and merriment, he could also see Pan in his life. Pan represents both the hardships and the joys of life in the country. For rural Greeks, Pan really was the god of all things. So I just want to go through another couple banners here that I probably missed. Let's see here. Pan is the Greek god of nature and fertility. He has the legs of feet and horns of a goat with the torso, arms, and head of a man. He's often pictured with the flute, dancing, laughing, and leering suggestively. The embodiment of sexual energy, Pan reminds us to focus on the pleasures of now. He can help keep us connected with the wild places within ourselves. So that's interesting. Sometimes I dance with Pan, it's late at night, beneath moonlight, and always in my dreams, but I do. He smells sweet like a wet earth in spring. His voice is otherworldly, it booms, and he tells me to keep dancing and to never stop. So that's interesting. I just had there's a song by Pink that comes on, I'm Never Gonna Dance Again, and it's like that just popped into my head. I just thought that was interesting. Pan correspondences. So the symbols are acorns, oak leaves, panpipes, seashells, and twigs. Tools, the phallus. That's a tool. Phallus, the wand. So the wand represents the phallus in Wicca. Also to your aphame also represents the phallus, in case you did not know that. Magical essences, herbs, musk, false unicorn, that is an herb. Saw, palmetto, patchouli, and myrrh. Direction, aligned with center. So supposedly his direction is to be in the center, so get in the center of your circle if you want to call him in. Rules, ecstasy, connection with nature, happiness, sexuality, grounding, life, and health. And animal symbols, of course, the goat and sheep. Don't forget the sheep! These are Pan's powers. Like the other gods of Olympus, Pan possessed enormous strength. He could also run for long periods of time after those nymphs. It was impervious to injury. It was believed he could transform objects into different forms and was able to teleport himself from Earth to Mount Olympus and back. He is depicted as very shrewd with a wonderful sense of humor. I hope so. I don't want to be pissing him off telling him the story. So when you're making offerings, I just wanted to put this up here. So when I talk about the Druids and making offerings, or what I call libations, this is what you're doing. Offerings are tangible expressions of the heart commitment to God. What is given is something of value and meaning. It has to cost the giver something. This is why you see your Satanists. They do blood rituals. They cut themselves. That's painful. They're giving their blood, and that's tying them into things. Not good. All right, so there's a benefit or blessing associated with the giving of offerings. Offerings is a means of thanksgiving and praise to God. Worship and joy are common denominators in giving and offerings. Okay, we did that one. Did we do this one? Yes, we did that one. I just want to make sure I get all my banners, and then we can move on to Bonecaster. So let's see here. Did that one, did that one, did that one, that one, that one. I think we are done. Oh, here's one. No, yeah, we did this one. Did we do this one? No, we didn't do this one. A religion that represents sex and considered it to cause all misfortune could not accept mythology that made sex its very reason for being. What are Christians? It could not simplify, forget them, and consign them to oblivion, but it was necessary to demonize them so that they were always, there's always a warning to men. So, I'm going to jump over to comments real quick. But I do have my bone casting set here with me. Hey, jumping over to comments. How is everybody? All right. Orgies. Oh, good God. Pansexual. Did they get the term frying pan from him? I was wondering that. I couldn't find anything on it. But if you think about it, you're taking food that grows in nature and you're putting it in a pan. Kind of makes sense to me. So, it's gonna go cleanse my dick knife. That's a phallus. Fallacy. So I'm gonna drop you guys down here. Whee! Here we go. So, I've added some more bones to my bone collection here. So this is quite interesting. This is just something I keep in there just to keep everything copacetic. So this is my cheat sheet here. This is kind of cool. I Mod Podged it. So this is actually just a piece of paper, and now look at it. It's awesome. So anyway, so that's my cheat sheet because I made all the symbols on these pieces. I keep selenite in here as well because selenite is a battery and it just charges everything and you get better readings off of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my pad over here. He just had it away. So again, the skull itself has the rune on it, man. So this represents the self here, okay? So we're going to be dropping the bones all around here. This is a skull I did find in the woods, for those of you who don't know. Now, I went back to, anyway, I'll get to the other pieces. So again, this is a piece of spine here. Also found that in the woods as well. And I believe this is someone's pelvis. Elvis, is this your pelvis? So anyway, so we have that piece here. Then we have a piece of jawbone here. So these are actually teeth here. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, there you go. There's teeth there. So there's a jawbone. And then the hip bone is connected to the fuzzy thing. Where did that come from? Okay, there we go. So again, this belonged to one of my cats, and ironically, Sarah gave me a case the other day, and I opened the case up, and the other bone was in there. So that's awesome. So that wanted to be added to my thing. These are actually the leg bones to my kitty cats that died, got run over by a car. Another bone that we've actually found, believe this is also part of the spine. It's possible cervical vertebrae or something. I don't know. So these are my new pieces here, guys. These are actually real bone. There we go. So that's actually real bone there, okay? And what I did was I put runes on them. So again, we got movement and we got a few here. This is a new one that I created. This isn't for partnership. This is actually another rune, and I can tell you what that means as well. Then we have, of course, I have jade heart. So that represents love coming. So if it falls near the skull, that just represents, especially if the heart's pointing at the skull, that represents a new love coming in. So that's quite interesting. And the last thing in my box is my key. The key represents opening and gateways. So yeah, we'll go from there. So let me jump over to comments. Here we go. All right. So who wants to go first? I'm gathering them up. So let's start with Court of Madness. She's right there at the bottom. Okay, Court of Madness. Can you put a thought or a question or something into, this is you. So put your thought and question and focus on this skull right here. Okay? So focus on the skull. Hey. Oh, my tooth. My tooth is missing. Hang on. There it is. I forgot. I have a tooth. There's my tooth. Okay, now we're good. It's so tiny. The tooth actually fell out of the skull. It's quite funny. It goes into the skull. Just like that, like that. The tooth. But I was working on it and the tooth fell out and I said, okay, that's going to become part of it. So, okay, Court of Madness. So we're going to gather up everything here in my hands. Whoops. I don't know if my hands are big enough to hold all the bones. So Court of Madness, focus on these bones here in my hand now. Okay. I almost have them all. I got my tooth. Okay, I think we got them all. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to drop them. Look, they're already starting to fall. All right, so I don't read the ones off the table, so that one we're just going to set aside. We're going to put this one aside too. We're going to put this one aside. Okay. So the first bone, I'm going to look at what's really focusing closely around you, okay? So the first bone is this one here, okay? This stands for destiny, mystery, secrets, and initiation. Also stands for patience. So that kind of makes sense to me there. And this bone over here, which is on the other side. Okay, so this one, and it's so funny because these two bones are on top of each other. So this bone here, trying to find, because I just changed everything the other day. So this is a new one to me. This is the new bone that I don't know. So you have movement here and you have love. So this is showing love going towards you. So that's kind of cool. And also too, it fell on top of the love charm. Now I also look to see how far away things are. This is my 6-month mark. Okay. Like this one is almost like on a 6-month mark. So I can actually get a time frame out of this as well. So this stands for fertility and peace is what this stands for. Okay. It didn't land on this side, it landed on this side, so we're going to stick fertility and peace, so that's interesting there. Again, you have movement and love coming towards you. Now this one landed upright this way. And this one is, where are you? Okay, so this represents willpower and self. So your willpower and yourself is working. Again, we're not reading these. So, and trying to figure out. Okay, this one over here is journey, career, freedom, and potential. So if you're looking for a job, this is about 3 months out is what I'm seeing here, because this is a 6-month point here. So if it's interested like in a job or something that you're inquiring about, this is showing about 3 months out to me. So that's interesting there. Now this landed this way, okay? I have a dark side and I have a light side to this. This is the light side. This is the dark side. Now the dark side can represent shadow self-work that you need to be doing. Doing more meditations, doing more grounding and centering is very, very helpful. Releasing things is what you want to be doing, especially if you're in my Reiki class. You need to release any guilt and shame and anything else that's going on in your life. So this tells you that you have a little bit more shadow work to do too. This can also be a form of attachment as well, but look, it's not right up against it. It was back further. So again, this is like 2 months, 3 months. So this could be an attachment that in 2 or 3 months is going to step away from you. So that's interesting there. Now this has to do with spirituality, opening up more. This, I like to see it this way because this is growth, this is everything. This is telling me that you need to open up a little bit more spiritually, and it's falling by the key if you notice this. And it's funny because if you look at your tooth here too, your tooth landed on the shadow self side. Okay, this is the enlightenment side and this is the shadow self side. So again, this is validating that you have to do some shadow work, and this will help. That's the key to opening up your spirituality, going there. Possibly you have a job that it's about 3 months out that's coming to you. You have love very close to you, so that's good there. And this last bone that we're going to read over here, the wackadoodly, no, I did that one. That's destiny. No, this is destiny. And okay, this is partnership and friendship. That's what that one is partnership and friendship. So anyway, so that's interesting. Who wants to go next? Who wants to go next? Say me. All right, I'm just going to go. Let's jump to Ash. Ash! Put a thought into the bones. While I collect my things, I need bigger hands. I just made some jumbo spirit dice too. You think these are hard? I have to put them in a basket to shake the suckers. Oop, they're just jumping. I got it. Okay. Damn, the bones are jumping. Okay, I think we're good. So Ash, connect with my skull here. Another thing that you can do too is I take clear nail polish and I put several coats on the skull on the top of it because I'm dropping these bones on it and I don't want to split the skull, so that helps maintain the skull. So anyway, okay, let's go. I'll do you after, Adam. Whoops, the tooth just fell. Okay, so this one's off the table. Won't read that one. I won't read that one. So we'll start over here. Let's start with the closest. Now, this landed right up against the skull, Ash. So this tells me that you have a lot of shadow work to be doing as far as releasing things. And I know what it is with you, Ash, that I feel it all comes from you feeling that you're not good enough, that you feel like you're inferior to other people. And I need you to get over that, because you are a beautiful, bright girl and you have powers in you and you have magic in you. And I need you to start believing in you a little bit more. The shadow self too out here, it landed on shadow, so that kind of still validates that too, that there's definitely some shadow work you need to release. Any negative feelings. You need to start practicing that self-love. You definitely need to start doing that a little bit more. You have the growth in the spiritual opening. It is facing towards the skull, so that's great. But I want to say that this is kind of blocking it, so we're going to see what this one landed up as. This one landed up as prosperity and heritage. So this can be family related here in here. So that's interesting. So it's almost like a family can be blocking you. Like maybe you want to do your spirituality stuff, but you hide it from people because your family doesn't understand how you feel, is what I'm getting off of that. And this one fell. Let's see here. This is a new one for me, so give me a second, guys. This is Earth. Okay, so this represents Earth, which tells me when I see that, that means you need to do more grounding and centering. Yes, you definitely need more self-love, sweetheart. You really do. But this is an opening here. So it's kind of funny how you got your spirituality here. You got the family and friends kind of blocking, because it's almost like you're like a witch, but you're in the closet. You don't want people to know. That's what I'm getting off of this reading over here. So it's kind of funny. But you are slowly opening up more, so that's good. You got the 777 here. 777, of course, represents it's divine light and love coming in, and it's kind of weird because it balances out this dark shadow self over here. So this is showing me your ascended masters and everything are working with you in dream state to help work on that self-love and everything else that you're going on. This represents balance, okay? And this is showing me probably about 3 months out that if you keep working on your shadow self and so forth, it's going to break free. Again, this is movement and love, and it's going that way. It's almost like it's going with you. I feel like you both are going down a river together. So that means that you're not fighting the changes, so that's really good. This represents constraint. This can represent let's see here, patience, omens, stress, and obstacles. That's your restraint. So but the only obstacle I see here, Ash, is you. I see you fighting and not letting yourself go and be your true authentic shadow self. You have the self-love here, which is definitely going into you, so that's good there. But I'm getting see, look, love and self. Do you see that? Love, self, love, shadow. So that's what I'm seeing here for you, Ash, is just you gotta believe in yourself, sweetheart. You're a really wonderful, wonderful person, and you just gotta start looking in the mirror and telling yourself, we're so hard on ourselves. We sit here and see our imperfections. Believe me, I'm 54 and I see the wrinkles and I see everything coming in. But you know what? I'm so beautiful on the outside, no matter how ugly I get on the in. I mean, I'm so beautiful on the inside, no matter how ugly I get on the outside. I'm just gonna keep shining my light. So, Adam, you next. Lovely. Hi, Tom. Connect with man. Connect with man. Okay, I'm going to try to keep them all on the pad this time. Okay. And connect with the bones in my hand. You ready? Here we go, Adam. Oops, that one just took a dive off the table. So your spiritual growth. See you later. Okay. It's funny, you had this one before, too, because this one, because this represents love, and this represents, like, a broken relationship. In fact, these little X's stand for relationship here that are on the side of it. So I don't know if you have to do some more letting go of a past relationship. I feel that you really got burned, Adam, and you got screwed over, and I really feel that they're telling you that you got to cut the cords from that, and I know that you have, but it's telling you that you should work a little bit more on that is what I'm seeing. But this is good because this is enlightenment over here. So this says, it tells me that you're working on that, so that's good. We're not going to read this one because it's upside down. We're not going to read that one, it's upside down. Not going to read that one. Not going to read this one. Now the key and the love. Look how they fell, Adam. Oh, you're so sweet, Ash. Well, that's what we're trying to do. Radiate that light, damn it. So the love and the key fell down together. So this is showing me that love, there's more love and there's more enlightenment coming to you. And look how close it is to the skull here. So that's interesting. And again, you're getting that balance, Adam. So that's really good. And this one is representing destiny, mystery, secrets, and illumination. And it's very close. And you got that balance going on there. You got the key and the love opening things up for you. So that's really good. This, I believe, is freedom and potential. So when you get to a certain frequency, turning up. When you get to a certain frequency, what happens is you get over that fear state. You really do. And I'm not afraid to die. I don't care. I'm just happy to be here. You know, when you get over that fear of something really bad is going to happen, there is a release. There really is. You find that inner peace in you, and you connect with that. That's your connection to Mother Gaia and to Source. And you connect with that, and you really start to get the feeling of that freedom. And that's what that bone is telling me right there. Okay, so again, we got love going on here. And we have the I gotta get better with reading these because they're all mishmashed. Fertility and peace. And again, I just said peace, and that's what this stands for, is peace. So that makes sense to me there. So you definitely got the balance and the love going on here. This one over here, this is partnership here. And this is the flow of partnership. And it landed on the 777, which is universal connection. And I mean, it's laying right on top of that. So I'm really seeing you. I feel that you've been doing a lot of meditations. Obviously, I know you have with this class and stuff, but I really feel that you've been really pounding this hard, Adam, that you've just really, your spirituality is really starting to take off because you got the movement and the flow going on here as well. You got the enlightenment here. This needs a little work over here, but you're working on it. That's what that's telling me. So, and you got love here. You got love all around you, Adam. This is a really good read. I like this read. So let's do Vincent. Let's do Vincent. Yeah, I started making these, oh my God, probably 15, 20 years ago. And Ancient Mystics, my friend owned the store, and I'd go there every day, and I would buy one. Of course, I only did it 5 times apparently, because she didn't have any more. She wasn't getting them anymore, so it's like these just sat around. And I remember them the other day. I have a shaman case that's a beautiful china cabinet. It's at my mom's, and I just haven't moved it here. I don't have room for it. So anyway, I've been slowly depleting it and bringing my stuff here, but I forgot I had these. So anyway, so Vincent, connect with Mon. Put the thoughts into the bones. They're slippery little suckers. Okay, I think we got them all. Do we got them all? I feel like I'm missing a tooth or something. Okay, nothing to mind. Okay, Vincent, all you need is love. Love is all you need. Okay, not counting that one. That one fell off the table. Again, you and like I said, you and Vincent and Adam, your energies are so close and so mingled. It's like I almost get the same damn read. I mean, you got the 777, and look how close it's falling to you. That's you. I'm seeing you that you're opening up more spiritually. Again, this is spirituality, but again, the growth is away from the skull because this is growth here. But this is still spirituality. It's almost like I feel like there's a little wall that's there, if that makes sense. It's like you want to be spiritual, but it's almost like your belief system is you can't, one day it's kind of like you believe in it, and then the next day it's like you shut down. It's almost like you're a flower just opening and closing, if that makes sense. You got the love again right up against you, so that's good. You got that love flow. This stands for fertility here, and this is the earth, which is the earth in balance of love and earth. Look how these fell into the eyeball. So you got something constraining you. You got a block that's, look how close it is to you, okay? So you got a block that you need to deal with and that you're not dealing with is what I'm getting off of that one. And once you get rid of that block, that balance will come in, if that makes sense to you at all, Vincent. And then you have the movement here, which is great. And then you also have friendship, fortune, and optimism here, so that's good. So you got that going on for yourself. And we have the shadow work that's really close by. It's almost like you have an internal battle going on, Vincent, if that makes sense. That a lot, it's almost like a secret. There's a secret inside of you that you don't divulge to everything, to everybody, that it's something that it's almost like you have an inward battle going on, if that makes sense. You get strength here. So you get strength there. I'm trying to find all my thingies here. And then we have victory. And victory is right next to the skull here. So this is the confrontation you have going on here, Vincent, if this makes sense. You have that inner battle that's going on, but once you deal with that inner battle through the spirituality and letting things go, the victory is going to come into play. And this one you have is destiny, mystery, secrets, and initiation. So that's pretty close to you here. Again, fertility, the earth, love is right on top of you, so that's really good there, which tells me you have a really good support system. But it's almost like you don't want to make your problems other people's problems. Then you have partnership over here that's facing right in. Then we have Kanu right here. Kanu is opening up in relationships, in becoming, expanding more and growing more in your relationship. And I feel that's more towards Adam and the two of you together. So that's interesting. So who's next? What's the movement mean? Movement means, okay, you know, we get blocks in our life, like we feel like we're trying to accomplish things and things get in the way. It's showing me that there's no block there, that it's open. Now is the timing's right, if that makes sense. Chris, yes, let's do you now, sweetheart. So connect with man over here. Man. Did I lose my tooth? I don't see my tooth anywhere. Knew I was gonna lose my tooth. I lost my tooth. I got it. Wow, that wasn't. So Vincent, here. Let's see what yours is. Okay, so yeah, and there's that self again. So it's that shadow and that inward battle you got going on there. We love you too, sweetheart. Very much. And I can't wait for you guys to come and visit. I can do all this stuff for you in person. Okay, Chris, so connect with man. And I'm gonna drop. Dropping. There's a lot of bones to drop here. Okay, so whoops, tooth got stuck. All right, so we're gonna leave this one off the table because we're not gonna read him. So we're going to start over here with this one. Okay, this one represents what did I do with it? So this little symbol over here, this represents balance, and I'm seeing a lot of balance here, believe it or not. So this is good. You got balance going on here. This you have, again, there's an obstacle going on over here. I'm not going to read these because these are upside down. Not going to read those, not going to read that. Okay, so again, fertility, and fertility doesn't mean just pregnancy. Fertility means that you have an idea and it's telling you that it's time to bring it to fruition, to bring it to life. Over here you have, and it's funny because it's this way, and it's almost like it's showing me almost your connection to God, if that makes sense, or higher things. You want to believe in them, but sometimes we doubt ourselves, and this is telling me, again, you have this going on over here, which is willpower, power, and self, okay, but it's being blocked by this one, which is strength, and let's see here, in movement, when it's being blocked by that, it's almost, again, with you too, Chris, I'm almost getting like there's an inward spiritual battle going on with you, if that makes sense. It's about life and death. We question it all our time, especially when we lose people that are close to us. It's just, we start questioning our immortality, or our mortality, I should say, and that's what that's representing. This is destiny, mysteries, secrets, and initiation here. Now, this one fell right inside. This is actually stands for joy over here. This is joy. And so it's showing me that some of the depression and sadness is starting to lift now, is what I'm getting off of that. And again, that comes in with, this is your restraint here, but I'm seeing that it's being lifted because this is like right in the eyeball hole here. You also got love coming into you, Chris. We love you, and it falls right on top of the key there. So it's almost like you have like a new relationship, or a new, not girlfriend relationship, but some sort of love interest. Maybe you're going to get a new friend, or somebody that really cares about you and your well-being and so forth. And you know that you always have us. We're always willing to talk to you. Now, the tooth landed on enlightenment, which tells me that you're opening up to the spiritual world and that you're interested in it, and it's just a matter of, you know, people think that the spiritual and religion are the same things, and they're not. You know, I put up a picture the other day. It's a little fish in a fishbowl. That's the religion, and the other fish is outside here looking in the fishbowl, and he's just swimming in the clouds, and that's spirituality. Religion, and there's nothing wrong with religion, please, I don't want to go there, but anything that makes you want to hurt somebody, or tells you that you have to do this for your God, and so forth and so on, you might want to re-question your spirituality and religion, because that's wrong. God is about love. Everything is about love and balance in life. And when you realize that those are the two things that we're working on in growing spiritually and becoming who we are, that's when your life really starts to change. So don't get too caught up, just like the names. Don't get caught up in the names. Don't get caught up in the religion and spirituality. It's just, I was Catholic my entire life, and the one couple times I've called on them, that was the one times they let me down. One was to pray over my daughter. She went in for open heart surgery. No, it's too early in the morning. We can't do it. So I did it myself. I baptized my daughter, and I did find somebody else to baptize her too. And that's when I started going off and becoming a priest. I guess I was kind of forced into it. So anyway, back to the bones. Okay, you're welcome, Chris, and we love you too, sweetheart, very, very much. So who is next? Who is next? Say me, quick. All right, so is Chris leaving? Is that what he's doing? We love you, Chris. Night, night. Okay. So, let's see here. Sara, connect with Mon. Connect. Also, too, the 777, if anybody got the 777, which I know that Chris did, and I also know that, I believe, yeah, Adam and Vincent both got it. That means a wish is coming true, too, so if that makes any sense there. Sara, I'm dropping. Right in the eyeball. Okay, not reading this one, not reading this one, not reading this one, taking these away. Okay, so you got this last time too, Sara. This is the shadow self. This is telling me you got some shadow work doing, but it makes sense to me. You're always kind of working in the dark, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean you work with spirits that need to be crossed over and stuff, so that totally makes sense to me. Now you have the heart over here, and this is partnership over here, and it's actually, my bone is breaking. Did you see that? Look, I got a crack in my bone here. So it's kind of funny that it happened right there on that side and not the other side, so it's kind of funny. So this represents like a broken heart. So I don't know if there's a past relationship you need to let go of there. You got the opening going on over here, and you got balance, so that's good. You got growth here. You got growth going on, and you got joy coming your way, and this is more openings. Let's see here, partnership. Got going on here. Oh, now this fell differently this time, Sara. Last time it was upside down, and it's funny because we've been dealing with the witch upstairs, and I actually kind of did a little tiny thing yesterday where I told her that if she didn't start behaving herself, I was going to bind her butt. So anyway, so this is kind of interesting. It's almost like that's been released, if that makes sense. She's still here, but she's backed off. And then you have the love, which is pointing right at the nose, and you have your spiritual growth, and this is wide open. So this is like a gateway that you're going through. I almost feel like this is initiation, like all the crap that you've been through, you're about to go through the threshold, and all new beginnings are about to come forth, and that's what I'm getting off of that. You got movement here. You got a key that landed right against there, which again tells me that doors are opening for you. So that's really good. You got the fertility here, which I feel that's more towards your business, if that makes sense. So, and like I said, you got the love going on there. Okay, so who's next? Shanunu. Oh, Court of Madness. Let's do Court of Madness. Oh my goodness, and oh my god. There you go. See, I need you guys to do that. Let's do Shane first, because I said I was going to do Shane first. Shanunu. Let's do this. I think I got them all. Oh, there's the tooth. I always forget the tooth. I need to paint it a different color. Okay. Okay. Here we go, Shane. And I just dropped some on the floor. Okay. I think it was just the one. I need him there. Okay. So I'm not going to read this one, not going to read this one, not going to read this one. I am going to read this one even though it's upside down, but it is in the head. So you got massive movement going on there, so that's cool. Shadow work. this is and again, look, the S is for shadow work, and it fell right up against there. So this is showing me that you have a lot of darkness in your past that we still need to bring up to the light. And I know what this has to do with, so we won't discuss it here. But definitely, because you got the 777, which, and look how close this is. It means that a wish of yours is coming true, having to do with love, and this is opening a door. So that's kind of funny how it's like you work on the shadow stuff and it's going to open the door to get your wish to come through with the love, if that makes sense. That's how I'm reading that. Again, you have yourself going on here. This is standstill, this right here, and it's very close to the nose. So to me, this is friendship right here. This is friendship and fortune here, but this is at a standstill. And I know that we're kind of stagnant right now here at the house, just for a moment, but this has to do right here with prosperity and heritage and the balance of that. This has to do with a journey. So you got a journey. Maybe it has to do with us going on a mini vacation. I don't know. So I'm not going to read this. I'm going to read this side. Okay, again, a broken heart. It's upside down, but you have the spiritual growth right on the head. Do you see that? So you do have spiritual. I know you do a lot of meditations and you do some shadow work, but this is definitely showing me that you're really doing that now. And for this to stand upright too, this. Anyway, so again, this is Earth. This is telling you to get outside, and I know it's been raining here for a week now, but definitely it's showing you about 3 months out that you're going to be very happy and very situated. This is your strength here, and this is your victory, and these fell out together. So that's quite interesting there. And again, the love and the key to everything on this table is working on that shadow self, is what I'm getting, honey. Okay, let's do Court of Madness. Court of Madness. Let's do this. Connect with man. These bones are slippery little suckers because I've painted them and Mod Podged them to preserve them, and it's like they're slippery little buggers. Okay. So Court of Madness, connect with my skull. You're most welcome, Shane. Okay, I did give you a reading. Okay, oh, lovely Shadow King. There we go. Shadow King, connect with my skull over here. If you're still here, sweetheart. Connect with the skull. Sorry, see, I have very short-term memory, so thank you. Alright, and if anybody else, if I haven't done it for, please yell out in the chat so I can see you. Okay, trying to keep them all on the table. Okay, here we go. Shadow King. Alright, so this is a mumbo jumbo mess here. So we have this, but it's kind of laying down. I don't see it as an opening. So this is telling me that spiritualize. You're a spiritual person, but again, you're like Vincent. Just you're open, you're closed. You're open, you're closed, and it's the fear that's closing you. If that makes sense, Shadow King. If that makes sense to you. And then we have this, which is constraint, fear. In not knowing things, and this is why I'm so knowledgeable, is because I dealt with fear and I educated myself with it. This is what telling me that there's constraint here, but it's all coming from fear. Do you see this and see what's facing you? I also get like demonic energy. I'm not saying that there's a demon in your life, but this represents the darkness or shadow work, but I'm getting more of this could be like an attachment, a spiritual attachment. If you feel you have a spiritual attachment, contact me. I can help you remove it, because it will drain your energy. And again, this fell on shadow and self-worth here. So this tells me that you have some shadow work to open up more spiritually, and that's why that was kind of blocked down there like that was. So, and this is, like I said, this is friendship. This is fortunate and optimism, but this is like right in the way, and this is standstill here. So it's almost like there's a block to a friendship. Like maybe you're interested in somebody, taking them on, and but there's a block here, and it all has to do, again, I'm getting like self-love. It's telling you to get the balance in that, and that's what this one is. This is the balance here. But you got the 777, which is telling me that a wish is coming true for you. You got love and movement, so you got love coming towards you, so that's great. This is past. This is like a broken heart from a past relationship. Cut the cords to that relationship, because even though the person might not be in your life any longer, they can still drain your energy. And this is showing flow here, and in balance coming to you right now. I also see a journey, and that's probably about a month out or so, that maybe you're going somewhere or going to be doing something that's going to be worthwhile. So I'm seeing a journey there with that. And this is that new bone I don't quite know yet. Hang on. Let's see here. So I believe that's fertility. Fertility. Yeah. Fertility and peace. So this will bring you peace. You get the key over here, which is opening doors to more love coming in. So, and again, you have a wish coming true. You got love and movement coming to you. This is love having to do with the past. Cut the cord to that. This was like right on you. So this is like you opening and closing like a flower. You got to get over that fear. You got to get over the things that are binding you and constraining your soul and your spirit and when you do, you're going to have the other one, which is peace, and you get centered that way. So if that all makes sense to you, okay, that's that one. Anybody else I didn't do, because I'm about to flip my camera up. Flipping the camera, just yell at me. I'm still watching chat. So anyway, so this is kind of crazy. It's really getting hot in my room. I gotta open a window. So Pan, demon or fertility god? What is your check on him? I'd like to know. Pan, you're so welcome. Personally, I wouldn't be inviting Pan into my room if I thought he was a demon. So, and I know I talk to things. I talk to Mother Gaia, and I talk to all these other spirits. They tell me before I invoke anything into my house, because you got to think of it this way. When I invoke something in here and you're hearing me say the words, that's carried over to your house. So I sure as heck wouldn't invoke anything into my house that I would not want to have in your house. So anyway, so please know, Pan, he's the wild man. He likes to drink his wine, and he likes to chase the women. So, and goats and sheep and whatever he can put that phallus into. So, but next week, Reiki. We are back to Reiki. I'm going to hit you hard next week. So if you guys can watch your diets, try not to eat too heavy. Fresh fruits and vegetables. That's awesome. Lots of water. Because when I get done with you next week, you guys think that you had some woo-woo moments on dreaming. It's going to really go crazy now. But the release of the Kundalini, Jasmine, I know that's happened to you. It will not happen again. It's been released, so you won't have that shaking and convulsing. That is very scary when that does happen. I know I've had it done to me when I had a really nasty attachment, and it scared the crap out of me. I thought I was dying, and this thing was causing it. And in essence, it was, because it was waking up the Kundalini in me. But anyway, I gave it power, and I shouldn't have, and it went downhill from there. So anyway, but I got a hold of it. It's gone now, and I did it all through Reiki. So Reiki next week, that's going to be a lot of fun, and I will mention briefly just the 114 other chakras that are above us and below us. I'm not going to go into big depth about it, but just in case anybody has missed any of these classes, I want them to know about the other chakras that are above us and below us. So anyway, I thank you guys all for being here. Like I said, you make me shine. You guys are amazing people. One more banner. Blessed are we who dance the pipes of Pan. So thank you all for joining me tonight. I absolutely love you guys. I think you're amazing people. I'm sweating. And I'll see you next week. Reiki and Mama Thing. What's that? Shine, shine, shine. Love y'all. Bye. See you later.